just because if it lasts any longer for Spencer Raxter, he should contact a doctor. But Malcolm Rodriguez was graded the highest rookie defender in Week 12. Australia advancing in the World Cup, too, beating Denmark. France and Australia get out of Group D. Spenny.
Yes.
How close are you to calling a doctor right now?
I'm pretty close. I'm not gonna lie. It's lasted a while now, and I'm excited for it. That's my guy. It's my guy, and we planted the flag a long time ago. Planted the flag literally the day after he was drafted, and now we're seeing it. He comes back. He went injured, came back in, highest graded rookie defender, fourth highest graded defender in the NFL. The guy's playing great. He's a stud, and it's just Brad Holmes' genius exuding. He just shows that he can find these guys no matter where they are.
And we have to bring T-Foss in for this one too, T.
Ready.
Under $1 million a year.
Oh, man. Great.
That's why I'll need to call a doctor.
Yeah.
I
don't blame you.
Different reasons. Now, T-Foss, has he shown you more in 2 drafts than you've seen in the last since the late 80s drafts? Has Brad Holmes shown you more in 2 drafts than you've seen by anybody since then?
He's shown me more than the 80s drafts in the 2 drafts. Yes.
He's got, 8 starters in his 2 drafts?
Right.
It's pretty damn good.
In the 80s, I'm not saying they didn't get good players, but Brad Holmes has more of a game plan. He's trying to put units together. In the 80s, they had Barry. And they got Lomas, and they had a bunch of other good players, but I don't think there was a concerted game plan to make a unit great. You had Lomas, Brown, and Kevin Glover, but the offensive line was never great. You had Chris Spielman, and then you had to bring Benny Blades from safety to linebacker. You had a very good defensive line. You were always shaky at cornerback, and they never shored that up. But I think the Lions back then was, if they saw a player they liked, we'll draft him. I think Brad Holmes is like playing chess. He's like, okay, forget this Martin Mayhew, best player available, but I'll select the worst player available. He's like, I'm building units, and that's going to make the Lions better.
I don't know how else to put it. And I know it's been a constant, D-Mac, and it's something that I've been on from day one when I saw guys that he drafted show up and have numbers. That was the first change for me. Numbers next to their name in a box score, i.e. they played in a game.
How many years did we go that we can't re-sign a second rounder? Or how many years, the fish is, now you got guys throughout the draft. The 2 guys in the last game you're talking about are your 6th and 7th rounder, right? In Houston and Rodrigo. But here's the one thing, right? I'm willing, if Brad Holmes drafts you, he's showing that you might be hurt originally, but when you're ready to play, you're productive. That's different than in the past. Let me say this.
If Brad Holmes starts popping on these second-round picks, the Lions are going to be dangerous as hell, and Brad Holmes is going to be strutting around
Can we stop with that, by the way?
What?
Can we stop with this, wait till he see if he can ever pick somebody in the second round? You can't hit every pick. Nobody
I know, but
does.
hit the second round, damn it.
Why? What do you care? Why?
Because
what difference does it make?
Those are very good players. But if you don't, that's why the Lions are in the position they are now, because they've been missing on the second round. Think of the great players.
No, because they miss on every round but the first. That's why they're in the position they're in. Because they don't have any Rodrigos that are making $750,000. They don't have any Amon-Ra St. Browns. That's why.
If you hit on the second round, you're getting a
okay, so it's got to be 100% then, Tifa. He's got to drill every round.
No, it doesn't have to be 100%. But how about 1%? Get somebody. And I'm not talking about Brad Holmes. I'm talking about the organization as a whole. Hit somebody.
And that's what Brad Holmes is doing, man. I'll give you, and again, I always like to do this for the people, D-Mac. We talk about fifth-year options, right? The draft class that would be in their fifth-year option for the Lions. And you brought up second contracts. The draft right now that theoretically will be going into their fifth-year option, i.e. also into their second-year contracts, would be Jared Davis, Tease Tabor, Kenny Galladay, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Michael Roberts, Jamal Agnew, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Brad Kaya, one of my personal favorites, and Pat O'Connor.
Oh, hell
Think about if Tease Tabor was a player. The Lions would be better now.
Imagine even if he wasn't a player, but if he crushed a lot.
Now
true.
he sucks, man. That's why he's not here.
That was a good point, Neil.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Spenmo.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Rapp.
That one was a little deep, I
That
know.
was a good one.
But the people that knew were going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's all that I knew. But D-Mac doesn't. That's what says it all, man. And the Eyes of Plan, 1919. That's it.
What
That's
does
why
it
it's
allow
different.
you to do? It allows you to fill in around it, right? So the biggest thing is putting his stock in Penei Sewell, and building, like Terry said, position groups. Now you can just add on to it because now you're like another team where you got players coming back, ready to produce. And you nailed it to where your draft capital salary cap is, right? You're in the vortex of this initial contract. We won't have to have this conversation for a few years with these guys.
Right.
That's what good teams do. So, again, it's a start. And it goes back to Brad Holmes proving that he is the right guy. He's still got to continue to prove it. But he's getting results from guys that he's putting out there.
Sam Flannel, how sobering is it to hear that draft class that would be up for their second contract / 5th-year option?
Oh, it's terrible. But when you juxtapose it with what we have now, yes, like the Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil, Amon-Ra St. Brown, even Derek Barnes, Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph, James Mitchell made a play. Malcolm Rodriguez is
James Houston, come on, man.
James Houston has more sacks this season than Kayvon Thibodeau.
In 5 snaps.
That's just a fact. That's just a fact.
The guy has played 5 snaps in his NFL career. It's crazy.
Maybe they should give him Hutch's snaps, man.
No.
Think about how those sacks would play out.
I think maybe Charles Harris. I mean, he's been the one that should get his snaps. He's injured now, but he's been the one who's
But yeah,
disappointed.
his snaps have been taken care of.
snaps have been taken care
Very
of.
disappointed with him, man.
Yes.
But again, 2-year deal, $6.5 million a year. No skin off your back, man.
Maybe he just regressed to the mean. Maybe he always was who he was, and he just had one good year.
It's normally how it goes.
I like how Neil, he brings in free agents. He brings them into the showroom just to kick them out of the showroom.
I talked about it on the heavyweights last night about like the whole free agent thing is, when's he going to sign a good free agent? Like he had to fill so many holes on this team with $15 million that you can't go out and sign an impact free agent. But now that he is drafting these guys to fill that hole and is building the team with draft picks, you can go out and sign one impact free agent. You can go out and sign one big name rather than having to take that money you could give to one big name and having to sign 5 people. You can spend it on one dude that'll actually make a difference rather than just putting warm bodies on the field.
Right, it's true, but signing free agents for a lot of money screws up let me just say this, can screw up the long-term game plan.
And here's a big example of that. You guys, everyone that complained about free agent signings, you did sign free agents this year. They were signed when you got here.
Yeah.
Jamie Collins and Trey Flowers. They took up $18 million of your dollars this year. Those were your free agents. So leave Brad Holmes alone. I got examples for days. Leave him alone.
Holmes alone.
Right, to what Spenny's saying is that wait till he has an opportunity to really go after somebody that he wants to go after. And the thing is that other free agents and other agents and around the league see what Detroit's putting together. They see that these young guys that are getting drafted, so they have money for free agents, and hopefully maybe eventually it'll be a destination place for one of these big guys that we need to come in.